Well, boys and girls, 15 and a half hours later, we survived. This is the post-WrestleMania Fallout edition.
Fallout. I like that.
Fallout. You know, when the dust settles and the smoke clears and the bells ringing and nobody's coming to the ring to sell up to break apart the brawl. That edition of Wrestling with Egos. I'm Patrick. That's Brian. Dude, that was okay. Look, I always love coming to your house and hanging out with you and my sister-in-law.
Always a pleasure.
All of our friends, especially being the fact that two of our friends brought their wee ones, and it was an absolute blessing to be amongst you guys and playing with the little ones. I think that's the longest I have ever been at your house that did not involve home improvement projects.
Right.
Holy crap balls, that was a long freaking show.
And I don't know what I'm doing picking the end time in the 11 o'clock hour anymore. I think those days have come and gone. I left points on the table for our TL Hopper festivities on that one.
We have, backstory. We have a little thing that our group does called the TL Hopper Cup. And it's just, prop bets that we do for all of the big pay-per-views, the Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and any other time we decide to get together. Every once in a while, we'll all have a big shindig for Money in the Bank, whatever. So, and it's always, just little fun. Who's gonna win? Is this gonna happen? Over under number of F5s Brock Lesnar attempts. Blah 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 blah. WrestleMania, we always have a question. Close, within 2 minutes, what time's the show gonna end? And which WrestleMania? Dear sweet mother of God, the thing could end at
4 in the morning.
4 in the morning. Exactly. 4 in the damn morning.
No kidding.
12:25 Eastern time, which, by the way, I nailed on the money. I was like, wow, it ended at 12:25. I gotta boast about that one, and that's not putting myself over, because I never get that one right. I'm usually like way like here's where we ended. I'm not here, boys and girls, in the frame. I'm like way down here, like. But overall, good show. Even Jenny thinks even Jenny thinks that was a good show.
And I do second that. And that's why this episode of Audibly Offensive. Oh, I messed up on that. Sorry. This episode of Wrestling with Egos. I took a trip in the Wayback Machine on that one.
We're live, pal.
Yeah, we're live, pal. That's my bad. This episode of Wrestling with Egos is brought to you by a couple of things. It's brought to you by overreaction, because that's the first thing that happened on Sunday night, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But then it's also brought to you by perspective, because in the week that has ensued, your boy has found his perspective on the way things unfolded Sunday evening, and he's okay with it, considering the fact. Yes, you're aghast, you're taken aback, you're dumbfounded. Face. Yes, right. I'm okay with it, because let's face it, I got pretty much everything I wanted out of this show. A couple minor things here and there I would change, but it wasn't a clunker of a show like some other Manias have been.
It was a solid B.
Yeah, I got Seth winning the Universal Championship. I got Kofi winning the WWE Championship. I got Becky Lynch. Becky Two Belts, as we're going to start calling her, I guess.
Becky Two Belts. Awesome. I love that. I was like, yeah, that works.
Yeah. So, and what I'm referring to by overreaction, at the beginning of the night when Paul Heyman hijacked Hulk Hogan's tired ass opening or whatever.
Thank you for calling that a tired ass opening.
Yeah, we're just reaching for 1987 all over again here. When Heyman came out, I started popping gaskets. All of my gaskets are on the floor by that point.
Popping gaskets? No, you were about one step away from a friggin' aneurysm.
Yeah, I was about to start flipping tables over and things like that, because
Roadhouse.
At the time, I thought it was just another attention grab from Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar, and I couldn't have been more wrong with the benefit of perspective. So I am here to issue a public mea culpa for the gaskets being all over the floor, but the gaskets have been picked back up and they're all put back into position, because what unfolded after that was Seth Rollins going Brock Lesnar on Brock Lesnar, basically. Fine, I'll take your pounding before the bell starts, but then I'm going to use some tactics that you've used before after the bell starts, and I'm going to get my 3 count, I'm going to get my curb stomps, and I'm going to get my title.
Can I ask you a question real quick, Brian?
Sure you can.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, the proper villain of this show, Patrick, the master and the the man who truly understands the art of putting oneself over is about to do it. Just brace yourself. So, Brian, when Heyman was walking down the ramp, you were sitting in a chair. I was right next to you, sitting on the floor with my fiance and one of the wee ones. I believe it was little H.
Yes.
Yes. Little J was not. Little J was with her mom and dad. But you were popping veins in your neck, and you were getting all rant mode on, shall we say? Foreshadowing people. And I kept telling you, dude, heel 401. I keep telling you this, heel 401.
You keep telling it.
It's all
to like it.
You're right, and you kept saying that. It doesn't mean I have to like it. I'm like, it's all going to play out. This is hubris, my friend. I believe that was my exact words to you. This is hubris.
And it was a case of me not being able to see the forest for the trees.
Exactly. So not only are you giving the apology and saying I was wrong, saying that I overreacted and I was wrong, but what you're also saying, while not saying it, is I was right.
Soak it up.
Oh, of course.
Soak it up. Cue the Bobby Roode music, because
Glorious.
it's just
anyway.
Enjoy it, because it won't happen that often.
Like hell it won't.
It won't happen where I'm sitting here talking about how you were right.
Oh, bull crap. Hey, we are 6 episodes into Wrestling with Egos. I have not yet to begin to prove that while you may be the intellectual savior of this show and all of wrestling media, I am truly the evil genius.
That's fine. Doesn't matter. Brock Lesnar's not the champ anymore.
Yeah, damn Skippy, but you know
Saints
who else?
Be praised.
Yeah, yes. New Orleans Saints, or just Saints in general?
Saints in general.
Saints in
football
general.
Season, it's the off season right now.
This is true. You know what else it's not? It's also not college basketball season anymore. Screw you, Virginia. Anyway, moving right along. You know who else? You were like, hey, Rollins is the champ. You know who else is the champ? Kofi. I got to start by talking about that one, because we always talk about in WrestleMania what match could, would, and then does steal the show. Very rarely is it a title match. It's usually some other match that it's not like the championship, like first tier championship match, Intercontinental title, US title, tag titles, blah, blah, blah. But it's never WWE or Universal or women's in this case. And it was the best match of the night was the WWE Championship match between Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston. Holy crap balls. Probably the best Mania match I have seen probably since WrestleMania 25 with Shawn and Taker. I'm not saying it was that good, but it was still damn good. It is homework assignment worthy.
Agreed, because I watched it back myself when I went back and scored the TL Hopper, sheets, because I've given up on trying to score them as it happens. It's just too difficult. There's too much going on.
And you're not able to enjoy the show.
And the thing that I realized as the match was going on live is the same thing I saw when I watched the match back a second time. that crowd bought
Was
into it from the opening
hot.
bell. You
And he,
know, they ate up everything Daniel Bryan did as a heel, and they ate up every time Kofi, fought back and, started putting in stiff shots of his own. It
and,
was
and you know this,
executed perfectly.
and both positively and negatively. Yes, it was executed perfectly, but do you realize that because that match was so damn good, they did to Becky, Ronda, and Charlotte what Hogan and Rock did to Triple H and Jericho. Everybody was out of gas. Now, granted, the show lasted a fortnight. It
Yeah.
lasted the length of Wimbledon,
Yeah.
but that match was so good. Everybody was out of gas at the end of it, and that huge pop because Kofi won. My God, that was a pop.
Yeah.
And even at your house, we were all just like, okay, cool. Becky, Ronda, Charlotte. Y'all right. This is going to be
The thing
good.
about that match, and it's interesting because
It
it's
fell
by the
flat?
time, well, no, I was flagging by that point. And I remember thinking when the match ended, wow, that was a short match.
Mm-hmm.
But it actually wasn't a short match because when I had all my faculties about me and I wasn't like fighting to keep my eyes open, it actually went almost, I think, 17, 18 minutes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Because I had an over under of 13 and a half minutes for that one.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of people took the under. I can't remember if what you or I did for that one, but it went 18, I think 18 or 19 minutes, and I don't remember it feeling that long at the time.
Oh, wow.
So they did all they could, and they were putting some stiff shots in on each other too. And I guess Ronda Rousey actually broke her hand.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that I did read that somewhere that she's going to be unable to, or she's got to wait to be cleared or something like that.
Oh, wow. I did not hear that. I heard a lot of things coming out of WrestleMania, but that was definitely not one of them, and we will get into those in a little bit. Were there any other matches, any other moments, anything that really, really stood out to you? Because I got a couple that stood out to me. What say you?
I liked. It's not a 5-star classic by any stretch of the imagination, but I did like the story that Shane and Miz did.
I thought it was great.
It's an undercard match. I get that. We're not looking for, 5-star mat classics here in a Falls Count Anywhere match, but
not a catch can clinic.
But
it was a fight.
Miz was taking it to Shane.
Oh yeah.
And more than I've ever really seen him take it to anybody. As the heel in the past, he's always been, running away and underhanded tactics, but he was actually calling most of the shots here, I thought.
Yes, he was.
And taking it to Shane. So that one impressed me. I will take my hats off to those two.
Anything else before I get into mine?
I'm kind of looking at the card really quick. I was shocked by the outcome of the women's fatal 4-way tag match.
With the Iconics winning?
Yeah, I didn't see them going in that direction.
Neither I honestly
glad for them.
Yeah.
It is time for some fresh faces in the women's division. So I like that. Those were the two big ones that stick out for me.
Right. For me, the one thing that stuck out, well, there were two things that stuck out. I was really surprised that, I think anybody with the brain expected to see John Cena show up in some capacity. The fact that he came out as the Doctor of Thugonomics and did the rap on Elias, that was good. And I was like, okay, that was a nice, just kind of fresh take.
And as that was happening, a lot of people were looking around each other trying to figure out what is it. And I figured out the tone of the narration of the video, with Babe Ruth calling a shot and stuff like that. I'm like, this has to be Cena, because it reminded me of the time in Chicago when he came out with CM Punk on his gangster car. The narration about how Chicago's hard scrabble and prohibition and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, he sucked up to Chicago there. He's sucking up to New York here. And then he comes out in a Yankee jersey. That must have killed him.
Oh, I was just like, okay, yeah, sell out, dude.
Yeah,
So,
but it was a nice touch.
yeah. Two other things that stood out to me. Um, Very low key 4.5 star match. AJ Styles, Randy Orton.
Agreed.
Great match. Very low key. Um, I thought it was. I thought it capitalized on both their strengths. Orton being able to use his height and his ability to almost contort his body in weird ways to
Yeah,
make his moves work. The fact that he went for multiple RKO's from really weird angles.
yeah.
I also love the finish where AJ goes for the springboard forearm. Orton catches him. AJ jumps back, kind of shotguns him off the ropes, and then immediately springboards back off. I'm like, okay, that was pretty cool.
He's such a great athlete.
Oh, absolutely. But the one thing other than Kofi winning it, and damn it, that was deserved, and that was a legit feel good, almost cry kind of moment. Damn it, if Drew McIntyre ain't gonna be a friggin' star. Holy crap. McIntyre, even though losing to Reigns, I guarantee you McIntyre's going to McIntyre will be, depending on how the Superstar Shakeup falls, he'll either be Universal or WWE champion by the end of the year. Book
Agreed.
it.
Yeah.
And he's the heel moving forward that I could make like the number one heel in the company, because with Drew McIntyre as heel, you could work a great program with him and AJ. You could work a great program, as you just saw, with him and Reigns, him and Rollins, him and Balor. Holy crap. Him and Kofi.
Yeah.
I mean, there are just the guys at the top tier of WWE. Drew McIntyre is capable of working a program with all of them, and
Yep.
I think I was already sold on him. You know me. I've always loved McIntyre ever since he returned and came and was going through NXT. I love this incarnation of Drew McIntyre. It's just savage. It's ruthless. You
Pretty
know
much.
me. You know me. I love heels, and Drew McIntyre is setting that precedence. As I always say, I would pay money to see him get his ass kicked. Him getting the ass kicking he deserves. And it's not cheap heat, it's earned heat. And I love it. So I'm looking very forward to seeing what they do with Mac moving forward. Anything else from WrestleMania before we rewind 2 days?
I was going to say we should probably do that next because
Yes, we are.
lest we forget what happened the Friday before WrestleMania with that card.
Sweet mother of Hades. If you miss TakeOver and you have the network, then what the hell are you doing?
You
That
need to
might
pause. Well, finish watching Wrestling with Egos first, but then carve out some time, carve out a couple hours to watch Takeover in New York because you'll thank us.
Yes, you will thank us. Every match on that card, save for the women's Fatal 4-Way, which was good, but it wasn't as good. Any of the other four matches on that card could have easily main evented Takeover, and quite possibly could have been worthy of being on the WrestleMania card. War Raiders versus Ricochet and Aleister Black was an amazing, hard-hitting match, just in your face the entire
And
time. I was shocked at how agile those two behemoths are. Those guys were, these guys, Hanson and Rowe are both at least 280. They're big dudes,
I had
and
only become aware of them within maybe the last 2 months, where,
right.
as the build up to Mania after the Rumble started, I kind of checked out NXT a little bit more. And I started seeing matches these guys were in. They're not just putting you in the corner and hitting you with shots to the side of your face. They're doing somersaults. They're doing punches. They're doing suplexes. They're doing all of these things that
Right.
big guys traditionally don't
Should
bother
not
with.
do. Yeah.
Yeah,
The only big guy that we've ever seen do that in recent history has been Kevin Owens.
right. But
Um.
they've I'm all in on the War Raiders. I mean,
Oh my God,
they
I
put in the
love them.
work every night. Doesn't matter what kind of match it is.
Yeah, I had only ever seen them once before NXT. When I think it was one of the Ring of Honor New Japan cards they did on Access TV. I can't remember. It was like the one at the Cow Palace, I think. Whenever they fought the Gorillas of Destiny for the ROH and New Japan tag titles. Um, and that was just a street fight. And I was like, okay, cool. They're just a big, brooding, marauding team. And then you start seeing stuff like that in NXT. I'm like, holy crap.
They found a
Um,
new dimension.
oh yeah. Or well, from what I heard, they've had that dimension. It's just they just hadn't done it before in NXT. I thought that was a great match. Um, just a great tag team match. You don't get very many of those. Then you have Velveteen and Matt Riddle, and they just raise the bar. Velveteen Dream is going to be the man within the next 5 years.
Yeah.
He has got everything written about him. I mean, it's kind of like when Rocky Maivia made his debut at the Garden at that Survivor Series, whatever year that was, and Jim Ross goes, "That's gonna be the man right there, I tell you. That's got blue chipper written all over it." That's Velveteen Dream. The more and more I watch him, charisma, entrance, just the way he engages the audience during a match, and then his actual skill set. Damn, love the guy.
Dream Dream isn't afraid to do anything, clearly.
Hell
I
no.
mean, look at the outfits, look at the entrance music, look at the pomp and circumstance and all that kind of stuff. He's not afraid to do anything, and then he can absolutely go in the ring.
Oh God, yes. I love watching the guy. Matt Riddle's no joke either. I was
Nope.
really impressed with Matt Riddle. I thought he was kind of a one-trick pony, kind of just, oh, I'm an MMA guy, but I'm also a bro. No, dude, homeboy can go.
Yes, he
I
can.
was, and his style is just really hard hitting. It's almost like strong style. So I really loved that one. Again, I thought the women's fatal four way, it had some moments. I'm sorry, I'm still not sold on Bianca Belair. I've never really been a fan of her. I guess I just don't like her because of the whole hair whip thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little hard on her. Um, the Sky Pirates, both the Japanese girls, they're okay. Baszler, I'd pay money to see her get her butt whooped. That's about all I can really say. It was a good match. It was a good, let's catch our breath. And
Yeah.
then we get Pete Dunne and Walter. Oh, sweet God. I felt horrible for both those dudes after that match because I'm like, hey, I know, Brian, I know we try
You've
and keep,
been you've been talking to me about Walter for a couple of months now. And
uh-huh.
you've been telling me to check him out. And because of my schedule being what it is, I can't always catch NXT. I get what you're saying now about Walter after watching that match. I mean, from the gimmick to the guy, his move set, he's another big guy who shouldn't be able to do the things that he does.
Right.
And yet here we are. And yes, the chops, because I know we're going to get to the chops eventually. Don't want to take a chop from him. You asked me, if I could get season tickets to 5 Cubs games for a chop from him, sure, fine. Would you take it for 1 game? No, I wouldn't. It needs to be 5
And
Cubs games,
so
and I get to pick the games.
you're not gonna rethink that. You're actually
No.
you're still staying on 5.
Yes, it's
You're
got to
not
be
gonna
5 games for me to take a chop from Walter.
for me, after seeing Pete Dunne take the ass whooping that he took, and for him to take that ass whooping and still dish it out, I mean, damn, kudos to Pete Dunne.
Yes.
Gonna be honest, when we'll get to it a little bit later, but I was really pissed off that he didn't show up on Raw or SmackDown. I was pissed. I expected that, and I was a little disappointed.
Yeah.
But to see that kind of ass whooping, oh no. You got to give me half a season to take a chop from Walter. Now I'm just like, nope. You got to give me half a damn season and maybe throw in some playoffs. Screw you. Ain't no way in the blackest hell.
And unlimited nachos or something, because
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Depending on what park I'm at. Because dude, some of these major league parks got some legit food now.
Yes, they do.
We've been to Progressive Field in Cleveland plenty of times. Those boys can throw down on some food. And then again, Brian and I
have stepped their game up, though.
Yeah, Brian and I have never shied away from food. We'll just leave it at that.
Food gets 2 thumbs up.
Hell yeah, man. Brian and I may both be a little soft around the middle. We'll just leave it there. But you know what? We still get the job done. Hey, we still get the job done, baby. Let's go ahead and move into Raw and SmackDown. I know you're the teacher and you're used to grading papers and everything else, but here's my letter grade for both Raw and SmackDown. D.
Incomplete.
D minus. It wasn't an F, but
here's what I didn't like, and you might feel the same way. You start off the Raw after WrestleMania, Seth Rollins is in the ring, and everybody is going nuts because and then I hear the New Day's music, and I'm like, oh, this is cool, camaraderie. We're going to congratulate each other. No, we're going to unify the championships, and I was like, no, stop. It's the Monday night after WrestleMania. And of course, it comes into a schmaz finish and everything like that, but
which pissed me off even more. I'm like, dude, okay, if you're gonna tease this, freaking do it.
Yeah,
come on, commit, damn it. All right, here's some things I did not like about Raw and SmackDown. Number one, you just mentioned it. I did not like that at all. You go from WrestleMania, Kofi winning it, and
all that euphoria.
All that euphoria, Ian Woods going absolutely bonkers. Kofi's kids being in the ring. They surprised him with the legit WWE Championship belt with Kofi's plates already on it.
Yep.
And then
the
championship T-shirts, man. And his oldest Kofi's oldest kid jumped on the ropes, and I was like, my man's a legit star right now. He's just like, yeah.
Think he's seen a few episodes?
Oh yeah, I'm like little Kofi balling out, dude. But then you get what we got with Seth and Kofi. Good match, and then all of a sudden they just train wrecked it. I'm like, oh come on, man. I hated that. Well, let's jump to SmackDown because that was number 3 on my list. Number 2 on my list on SmackDown. Okay, I like the Usos. I like the Usos a lot. So you mean to tell me we can have the Usos, Black and Ricochet, Naka Rusev, and who else was in that damn match?
Was it the Bar?
The Bar, yes, the Bar. We can have all 4 of those teams. Yeah, point your thumb down, actually. We can have all 4 of those teams and the Usos retain, but we can't get the dream match that people were wanting. But we're going to get the freaking Usos and Hardys on SmackDown, and the Hardys are going to win the titles. Man, that pissed me off so bad. Not because I don't like the Hardys. I love the Hardys. Arguably one of the greatest tag teams in history. And I'm fine with the Hardys winning the titles over the Usos. Doesn't matter. But I would have preferred to see that one-on-one at WrestleMania. Let the Usos and the Hardys just throw down in front of 80-something thousand people, because you would have gotten a "This is awesome" chant. Would have loved it. But nope, we got to do that on SmackDown. Screw you guys. That pissed me off. But not as badly as number 1. Okay, and this is going to be a mini rant mode on. All right, so you mean to tell me we're going to have all this build up to Becky Lynch winning both titles, as it should have freaking been, only to be interrupted by Lacey Evans. Lacey freaking Evans. Okay, I understand calling up all these NXT people and not use a damn one of them, like EC3 or, Jesus Christ, Lars Sullivan. Get him off my damn TV. But Lacey Evans is going to sashay her southern ass down that ramp. This is a woman who uses a right hand as her finish. And she cold cocks Becky Lynch on Monday night, and Becky doesn't go down. Talk about golden shovel. So, but we got to do it again on Tuesday night because Becky didn't go down. So now Becky's going to go down and then stand right up and beat her ass. Okay, so you mean to tell me both segments on Raw and SmackDown, you're going to interrupt Becky with the same woman who you just called up from NXT, who's done nothing but walk down the ramp, wave, and sashay her ass back up the ramp, only to punch Becky in the face and Becky brushes it off. What the hell? That pissed me off because I'm like, okay, can you please tell me what the point of all of that was? There was no point. It was stupid. It didn't make sense. And you've done more harm than good to Lacey Evans because Lacey Evans had one shot and now that don't even work. That's like telling the Big Show, okay, hey, you're going to hit Tony Nese right in the mush with that big right ham hock of yours, and he's going to laugh at you when you hit him. What? It's your one damn move.
That we know of.
You've seen her wrestle. It's her one damn move.
Well, this kind of segues into one of the things I have for the Superstar Shakeup.
Go for it.
Becky stays on SmackDown with both belts, and okay, we're going to see if Lacey Evans is a worthy challenger for her, because we may have seen her wrestle before. The NXT people may have seen her wrestle before. Let's see what other kind of a moveset she has. Let's put her in some matches with Becky, a build up to the next pay-per-view, whatever it is. I can't remember if there's something before Money in the Bank or not.
I think it's Money in the Bank's next.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with giving Lacey a month to work with Becky. I mean, I don't think Lacey should win, obviously, but
you mean kind of like how they did with Lana?
I think Lacey's got a little bit more cadre than Lana. But I'm all for taking this depth that you want from the women's division and running with it. Yes, and it's making me angry. All I've seen Lacey Evans do is strut out, tease that she's going to do something and then strut back. I find it annoying.
Oh yeah, it's very annoying.
And I guess that's the point. But now the next step for this character is, okay, put your boots on, take your stilettos off, put your boots on. Let's get in the ring with the man, and let's see what you got. That's what I want to see. That's one of the things I have written down for the Superstar Shakeup.
What else you got written down for the Superstar Shakeup?
You know who else I want to go to SmackDown?
Who? Balor?
And I want him to start a rivalry with AJ Styles.
Ooh.
Because the Balor Club is not going to happen because Gallows and Anderson are as good as gone, I think.
Oh yeah, they're on their way back to Japan.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I wish them all the best, the Good Brothers and all that stuff. But imagine what Balor and AJ can do. We already got a taste of it at Survivor Series 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Or No Mercy, one of the two. I think it might have been, I forget what it was, when that illness was going through.
It was No Mercy when we were supposed to get the Demon versus Sister Abigail. Thank God we never got that.
Thank God for Mono or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was Mono.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I have, because I think those two could have a months long story arc with the Intercontinental Championship involved.
Agreed. Here's what I want to see. I want to see I agree with you on. I never thought about that one, but I definitely agree with you on Balor going to SmackDown or AJ going to Raw. You
I
can
guess
easily,
either way accomplishes it.
yeah. If you're gonna send AJ to Raw, you got to send somebody equally as badass over to SmackDown. So if you send AJ to Raw, you're sending Roman to SmackDown.
I have that
I'm
written down too.
Oh, nice. I'm okay with that. So I would actually send AJ over to Raw because AJ's easily, one of the best people they've got. Um, I would also take these NXT people and put them somewhere. Put Alistair and Ricochet on freaking Monday Night Raw,
As
not
a
on
tag team?
SmackDown. And both.
Okay.
Both. They can do whatever the bloody hell they want.
Agreed.
So I'm good with that. I'm good with that. EC3, send him back to NXT. Lacey Evans, let her get buried on Raw or SmackDown, whichever one you choose. And then send her ass back to NXT. Should have never been called up. Lars Sullivan, uh,
It's not going to amount to anything. I'm glad his issues seem to be taken care of that he was going through.
yeah.
But again, it's another Matt Morgan, it's another Nathan Jones, it's another big muscle bound guy that doesn't talk.
Vince just absolutely loves. Um, At the same time, though, something else you thought about, if you move Balor over to SmackDown, then by default, you have to move Joe to Raw. Because you can't have Intercontinental and US on the same show. Which I'm okay moving Joe to Raw.
Yeah.
I think the tag team division needs shaken up. I would be very. I think you could also benefit now that the Hardys are the champs. I think you could benefit from moving Alistair and Ricochet to SmackDown if you send the Usos to Raw. It'd be weird having the Usos on Raw because the Usos have been SmackDown since day one.
Yeah.
But it would still. I think I don't care. I don't give a good friggin' damn where you put the Usos. I'm gonna watch. So
The sad thing is that most of the tag teams that are worth anything are on SmackDown right now.
mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
having
they
a
are.
hard time thinking of other than the Bar, they've been more SmackDown than anything too.
Put
Other than Gable and Rude, I'm having a hard time thinking of tag teams that have been on Raw exclusively recently.
Yeah, I mean you the revival, but I think obviously
If they're here.
If they're here, yeah, boosting up the tag team division on Raw, I think is something that they critically need to do, and it would benefit them by either doing Black and Ricochet or the Usos. If it's me, I'm moving the Usos and I'm sending the young guys over to SmackDown and let them do their thing over there with some very experienced tag teams. Oh, something else real quick that I just thought of. We were talking about things that we loved from Raw and SmackDown. Big E doing the splits. Yes, 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 yes. First off, Big E and Woods and all that bull crap they did while Kofi and Rollins were jawing at each other. Woods playing air guitar on the trombone to Rollins music. I was just like, oh my God, this is like the greatest thing ever. I love those guys. Anyway, back to the Superstar Shakeup. People I'd actually call up from NXT. And also there is one rumor I am hearing. Io Shirai and Kairi Sane coming up to SmackDown to be a part of the women's tag team division.
Okay.
Because
what I did see, and I have something that might confirm what you're saying. Regal told Baszler last week.
I saw that as well.
Sane gets one more shot, and she's like, "Why do you keep giving us this? This will be 5 times she's tried."
Right. Well, you got to get rid of some people so new people can have a shot. Because
right.
there's so many people that they have. NXT has as far as women's talent that haven't even been on TV yet. I mean, we still yet to see Casey Catanzaro. We haven't seen Chelsea Green, even though she's injured right now. List goes on and on.
Candice LeRae needs some more time.
Candice LeRae definitely needs some more time.
Yeah.
Dude, we gotta rewind. Takeover. Gargano wins. We didn't even talk about Johnny Wrestling. What the bloody hell? We're 40 minutes into the show. Jesus Christ, we suck tonight.
Yeah, we do.
Dude, that match. What is it about Johnny Gargano, takeovers, and match of the year? Damn it, man. That was such a good match. It told such a great story.
He's this generation Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Adam Cole tapping out so quickly in the second fall. I was like, that's just smart.
Yep.
It was just such a great match. And then you get the payoff of Johnny winning it. Johnny starts to celebrate. Candice tackles his ass in the middle of the ring. They go celebrate with their friends, their family. I know our boy RJ, who's known Johnny for years, was pumped about that when I talked to him as well. So that was just awesome. And then they go up the ramp. And Tommaso Ciampa comes out. And I'm like, oh, God. No,
I was not prepared for that.
No. And then they all hug. And I'm sorry, freely admit it, Waterworks. I was done, man. I was like, oh, man. I mean, look, yeah, it would have been cool to get Gargano Ciampa 2 out of 3 falls and have Johnny pull that one off. But that payoff was worth it because it was just like, okay, we're all here. We've all been down this road. We've been doing it together. And now I get to congratulate my friend on winning it. And then he tweets out something to the effect of we were all here, blah, 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 but only one of us is the real NXT champion, and had a black heart next to it. I was like, that's awesome. So anyway, back to it.
To be continued.
Yes, to be continued. Fast forward. I want to see some NXT people get called up. I want to see. I wouldn't mind. I'm intrigued by seeing the Sky Pirates being called up. I think that would be really cool. Unfortunately, the 2 guys I would love to see get called up aren't getting called up anytime soon, because one of them is feuding for the NXT Championship in Adam Cole, baby, and the other one is the North American Champion.
I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry, there we go. I got it.
Yeah, and the other one is the North American champion, the Velveteen Dream.
Right.
I gotta be honest. As much as I love Johnny Gargano, I am okay if he never gets called up. I am okay if he stays the rest of his career Mr. NXT.
I mean, it's working for him so far.
Oh yeah, I am very much okay with it.
Given the track record of what they do up there, it wouldn't be a bad move for him to stay.
Exactly. Which kind of leads me to something we need to talk about. Remember how I told you I had a mini rant mode on earlier?
Oh, I thought you did it already.
I did. That was the mini rant mode on.
Oh, there's dose?
Oh, part 2.
Okay.
And part 2. And this one.
Waiter, can I have a refill? Because this is going to take a while. Okay.
Hey, pour a shot of tequila, boys and girls. Because here comes the pain. Okay. So why do I feel like I've been jerked around for the last several months? Why do I feel like I've just been led around by a certain part of my body by WWE with all of these NXT call-ups that, hey, we're going to showcase these guys so you can see what they're all about. We don't know what show they're going to be on. Rant mode on. So you mean to tell me that aside from Ricochet and Aleister Black, I'm going to get Lacey Evans, who's up and down the ramp every freaking week. Gonna get Nikki Cross, who all she's gonna do is just Nikki wants to play, Nikki wants to play. Lars Sullivan, who we don't see until the night after WrestleMania. EC3, who's just arm candy to whatever member of the women's division is around. And Heavy Machinery, who we can't even call them Otis Dozovic and Tucker Knight anymore. They're just Tucker and Otis. That's just one step higher than Jesse and Festus. Yes, I went Jesse and Festus, Brian. Kiss my ass. I mean, for the love of God, all of this NXT talent that you're calling up in one fell swoop, you're wasting their time, you're wasting my time, you're wasting Brian's time, you're wasting Ring of Honor's time, you're wasting NXT's time, hell, you're wasting AEW's time. Why? Because you just won't release any of these people except for Black and Ricochet because they're the only ones you're actually strapping the rocket to. Everybody else is just sitting there in a pile of compost, rotting because Vincent Kennedy McMahon, in his wonderful way of thinking, and the writers for both Raw and SmackDown don't know what to do with real talent. Oh, wait, they didn't call up real talent. They called up virtually circus freaks. They called up a sassy Southern Belle. They called up two big guys in a tag team, one who's about as wide as he is tall. Don't get me wrong, I like Heavy Machinery, but there are so many other people they could have done something with aside from them. You call up you call up EC3, who was a big fish in a little pond in Impact, and Nate Squat wasn't squat in NXT. Sure as crap isn't squat on the main roster. And then Nikki Cross. And you can't even pair her up with Sanity. You're just letting her run roughshod, doing whatever the bloody hell she wants by herself. Really, like I said, I feel like for the last 3 months, Groot has had his branches up my nose and just leading me around the WWE universe because none of it makes sense. Stop wasting my time. Stop jacking me off and give me NXT talent called up to the main roster that you're actually gonna do something with. I'm tired of seeing Shinsuke Nakamura the way you're using him. I'm tired of seeing Finn Balor the way you're using him. I'm tired of seeing you use Samoa Joe the way you're using him. Why don't you use those guys the same way you're using Drew McIntyre? No, you're just going to turn Finn Balor into Dolph Ziggler 2.0. That's exactly what we're doing here, boys and girls. And it's pissing me the hell off. Rant mode off.
So you're saying the WWE is basically just amassing talent so that they don't go elsewhere.
Exactly.
Without a plan in place. So we're just going to have all these people on the roster. We're going to keep them from plying their trade at another promotion.
If I had hot buttons right here to make sound effects, you'd hear ding.
It is unfortunate. I don't know what that mentality is like. I don't know what they're scared of. Take the shackles off these people. What's wrong? Why do we have to have just one good storyline? Why can't we have 6 or 7?
Because the people in charge of Raw and SmackDown do not know how to multitask, apparently. I mean, hell, we learned how to multitask working at Office Max. Hey, Brian, I need you to work on this planogram, but I also need you to take care of these customers and sell me some chairs.
Okay, fine. I mean, I'd like to think that we could write storylines for all of these pairs of people that are going to get the crowd to buy into it. I mean, now you mentioned one name in your rant,
Uh huh.
and Steve, take this out for a spin. One of the people that I have in the shakeup, let's move Charlotte Flair to Raw,
Okay.
and let's have her play with Nikki.
I want to see somebody play with Nikki. I love Nikki Cross.
Yeah.
I think she's great. I just don't want
We
her
need
to
to
just
put
stay
her.
back.
We need to put her in matches. We need to. She
Yes.
shouldn't be just shaking the ropes in a battle royal.
Right.
We need to
No.
put her in a match with somebody, in an angle with somebody.
Right. And let her be that rabid, psychotic, crazy bitch because that's what she plays.
And give
She's
Charlotte like 3 or 4 weeks to figure out what have I gotten myself into, and
yeah.
that's compelling. That's a
Not
clash of
just what the
styles.
hell have I gotten myself into, but what the hell is that?
Yes.
But at the same time, they're not going to do that. They're not going to move Charlotte to Raw because Charlotte's in a relationship with somebody on SmackDown. So yeah, that ain't going to happen.
Well, that's why they make cell phones.
Yeah, well. Anyway, moving right along. Bro, we didn't talk about this last week, but didn't I assign you some homework 2 weeks ago?
You did, and I'm passing it into you right now. The homework you
Right.
assigned me was a Spike Dudley Mike Awesome match
Oh yeah, I forgot about
from
that.
which
Guilty
event
as
was it?
charged 2000 in
Yes.
Birmingham, Alabama.
Yes. Um, and you would give me the choice, do you want to see somebody just take an absolute restaurant quality beating, or do you want to see somebody like get severely hurt? Was that the other?
I believe how I phrased it was really, really, really messed up.
Yeah. So I took the beating, and this was a fun match to watch, I thought, because it
Spike
confirmed
Dudley took an ass whooping.
it confirmed what I already knew about Spike from his time in WWE. I mean, that guy knows how to take a pounding. He knows how to take shot after shot after shot and keep fighting back, kicking out of covers and all that kind of stuff. Was this match a 5-star classic? No. I mean, it's your typical ECW match where there's tables involved and there's, just, throwing you out in the crowd and, getting the crowd involved and the barricades and all that kind of stuff. I thought it was a fun little match to watch.
Speaking of the crowd, did you notice anybody? Did you recognize anybody from the crowd?
In all honesty, I remember you saying that, and I couldn't find you. So
Okay.
I would need to go back and slow it down and watch it, but pay attention to the ancillary stuff as opposed to the match as it's going on.
Next time we're hanging out at one of our houses, we'll fire that match up. I'll show you.
Yeah,
I know exactly where I am in that match.
Okay. So I thought it was a good match. I mean, given, you're going to ask me to grade it.
Hey, here, I'll grade it for you. It is
Okay.
what it is.
Yeah, I was going to say like a C plus.
Hey, when you put this one on the website, grade, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I think we can agree on that one.
Yeah, it was. It's not It's a different caliber match than what we've been giving each other.
Right.
And that's to prove a point. It's that there's all kinds of matches out there for people to get behind. If you like watching people get lit up, ECW might be your cup of tea because that's one of the things that they prided themselves on is we're going to take these risks. We're going to get weapons involved. We're going to do all this stuff. And it's going to look cool, and it's going to make some stars out of some people.
Right. Did you enjoy the table spot where Spike got thrown over the ropes? And
I didn't enjoy any of the table spots. I mean, they all looked, uncomfortable and dangerous as all get out. And I guess that's the point.
Right. Power bomb off the top rope.
Sickening, utterly sickening. I mean, it's a wonder how Spike is in the health that he is. given all of the things that have accumulated over the course of time with him.
I'd like to point out Spike Dudley walked out of the arena that night.
I don't get it. I mean, it's just hats off to him.
I know this because I saw him with my own eyes outside of the Boutwell Auditorium that night.
Yeah.
I remember looking at my buddy Matt going, "What the hell? That's Spike." Like, oh crap. So
are you ready for your homework?
Bring it, baby. I am looking forward to this, especially being the fact that I've just given you something like that. So I have a feeling payment is coming due.
Well, I don't know. I'm not like that. I mean, I have plenty of clunker matches that I could choose from, and it's not that I would even call Spike and Mike Awesome a clunker match. But given that we're coming off of WrestleMania, I figured I would dip into the vast repository of WrestleMania matches. That
vast repository of WrestleMania. Yes. There's your big word of the day, boys and girls.
There's your big word of the day, and it's all I can do to help us be a lean, mean, wrestle talking machine is use that vocabulary, that verbiage. We're gonna give you a WrestleMania match here. We're gonna go back to WrestleMania 29.
WrestleMania 29. That one is in Miami, right?
No.
That's New York.
That's also a New York WrestleMania.
Yeah, that is New York with the main event Cena Rock Part 2.
Twice in a lifetime, but that's not your homework.
Thank God.
I'm not a homer like that. I mean, it's going to be a while before I give you a Rock match to watch. I can't. I'm not going to play all those cards right now.
Hang on. All right. Okay. I'm trying to remember what else is on this card. Give me a minute. And obviously don't tell me if I got it right. Let's see. Punk and Taker's on this card. Del Rio and Swagger is on this card. E and Ziggler versus Team Hell No for the tag titles is on this card. Shield versus Show, Orton, and Sheamus, I think, is on this card.
You remember more of the card than I do. Jeez.
I do not remember anything else.
Well, let me ask you this. Based on that list you just read it off, what do you hope your homework is?
Is my homework one of those matches?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. To be completely honest, going off of all those, well, I know it's not Cena Rock. There was no Universal title. It was it was at the time like the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, correct?
Correct.
So one belt to rule them all. So I don't have to worry about a world title or a Universal title or any horse crap like that. Trying to think, is there anything I'd rather watch more than Punk and Taker? Even though I hate CM Punk, that was still a great freaking match. I would honestly say if I had to pick, I would actually hope that my match is CM Punk and Undertaker.
And Yahtzee, you are correct, because
yes!
You and I both have a load of respect for the dead man.
Oh God, yes.
I know your feelings about CM Punk, Bill Brooks. I have
real quick. Hey, let me air that out real quick with just one simple little phrase. He quit. That's why I don't like him.
I get it. I understand.
He quit. He walked out. He bailed. He screwed people over when he walked out. Yes. Screw him. Moving right along.
But in my attempt to embrace the villain role, that I'm, aspiring maybe one day to,
I get that. I respect that.
CM Punk has always been a compelling figure for me.
Yes.
When I find myself rewatching matches, watching matches more than once, a lot of them involve CM Punk.
Yes.
Because of his mind for the business, because of his moveset, because of his skills on the microphone, because of the fact that he has a plan in his head about how he thinks the business should be, and he talks about these people that you need to give a shot to, and you're not giving them a shot. Kind of, there's a lot of parallels to how he thought about the business back then, and your rant mode on from earlier. You've got all these people, all these talents, and you're just letting them be adrift in the ether, and you're not really using them to do anything. So there's a lot of parallels there, but
except I don't quit.
I get that, but
Sorry,
this is your homework for next time. Your homework is CM Punk versus Undertaker at WrestleMania 29.
Cool. I will.
And as always, the preview helps the match. I mean, I'm always a big believer in the previews too. You know, all the backstory behind the actual match itself.
Now, let me ask one question. Am I allowed? I know the answer is no, but am I allowed to just stop the match after CM Punk's entrance?
That would not be actually watching the match then.
I know, but the reason I'm asking is you have to think at the time he's coming out to one of my favorite songs of all time.
Yes.
And it's being played live by Living Colour themselves.
That's correct.
Freaking love Cult of Personality. One of my favorite songs. It's like number one on my playlist.
But to be fair, if you stop it after Living Colour is done, then you're not going to be able to watch the match. So therefore,
you're also not going to get Taker's entrance, which, if I'm not mistaken, that one was Gangster.
Yes.
Because if I'm not mistaken, isn't that the Hands?
I believe so.
Which is the sickest Taker entrance ever. Speaking of Taker, didn't expect to see him show up at Raw after Mania and then beat the piss out of Elias.
Poor guy.
You know what, dude? He plays the cheap heat heel so damn well.
Does. Yes.
I gotta love it. Now, you had mentioned something, and we're gonna run a little bit long tonight, but I really don't give a damn because you know what? WrestleMania ran 15 hours and 5 minutes.
It's the Wrestling with Egos after WrestleMania. It's going to run long. These are the ground rules.
There you go, boys and girls. You had brought up a new segment that you wanted to discuss, and I love the idea. We got time. We're going to make time. Okay. Deal with it. Each week we're going to talk about a top 10. We're not going to
each month.
Each month. Okay. Yes. So obviously this would
give it time to breathe.
Give it time to breathe. So for the rest of April, we're only going to do half a month on this one. So for the rest of April, we're going to discuss this, and we would love for you guys to get involved with us on this. You can either hit us up on email the show at wrestlingwithegos@gmail.com. See the little graphic down there? I learned how to do this on Premiere Pro, dude. I'm baller now. WrestlingWithEgos@gmail.com. You can hit Brian up on Twitter at bkrego15. You can hit me up on Twitter at rantmodeon. Surprise there. But this for the rest of April, we are discussing the greatest minds in the history of wrestling.
Surprisingly, I appear nowhere on this list. I resisted the temptation to slide myself in there.
Sucker, you wouldn't be on this damn top 10 list before me. Shit. Pardon the language.
I wouldn't be on the top 10 list if it was a top 100 list, but you know.
Yeah, but I'd be on this list before you would. I had a couple of grievances with your list, but real quick, run them down 10-1.
I knew you would have grievances, and that's why I called this list April's list sure to be picked apart, because
they're all lists sure to be picked apart. Neither one of us, when we make one of these things, is going to be happy with it completely.
Right. Top 10 lists, it's designed to create discourse. It's designed to create argument. It's designed to, it's a matter of opinion. I mean, if I asked, 20 people to make a top 10 list, no two are going to look exactly the same. There's going to be, why'd you put this guy here, that guy there?
Real quick, Brian, favorite You know what? Number one on the list. What do you think is the best finisher of all time?
Best finisher of all time. Gee whiz. Probably the
Uh,
figure four.
okay, I would say Brainbuster. There you go. Moving.
Yeah. So
Point proven.
that
So,
that'll be November's list. Stay tuned. Maybe not.
oh,
I don't know.
it'll happen, and I'll probably be the
Yeah.
one making that list because that'll be fun. Anyway, number 10.
My top 10 minds in wrestling. Number 10, I have the Mexican Superman, El Santo.
Okay.
Mainly because he lived his gimmick. This is back in the time of kayfabe in Mexico. He started movies in his mask. He went out to dinner in his mask. When he was seen in public, he always had the mask on. And it takes a lot of conviction to live your gimmick all the time, regardless of who's watching.
9.
Number 9, Pat Patterson. He won that Intercontinental Championship tournament in Rio de Janeiro. But he's also been the mastermind behind a lot of matches through the early 90s, mid 90s, and so on.
That's one I got beef with. We'll talk about that one in a bit.
Okay.
Go.
Number 8 would be Triple H.
Okay.
Number 7, Chris Jericho, because of the amount of times he's reinvented himself as a character through the years. He hasn't really stayed the same.
Also, the fact that he invented Money in the Bank.
True. Number 6, the reason we have New Japan Pro Wrestling, Antonio Inoki.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5, William Regal, because he's the thinking man's wrestler, and also the great work he's doing with the guys and gals down in NXT.
And the reason there is a heel 401 class.
Agreed. Number 4.
Real quick, William Regal is a villain I aspire to be.
That's good to know.
That's the villain I aspire to be.
Yeah.
That is like the definition of, I always use the phrase proper villain. That is the proper villain. That is the OG.
My number 4 is Bobby the Brain Heenan. Managed so many great characters back in the 80s, and also has a storied history before that in a lot of different promotions. Number 3, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. All the things he came up with in WCW, War Games, and Starrcade, and just the driving force behind all of these innovative concepts.
Yep. 2.
Down there. My number 2, J.J. Dillon, keeping those horsemen in check and things like that.
I got beef. I got hella beef with that one.
And also a talent agent behind the scenes for both WCW and WWE.
True.
So he had to have an eye for talent as well.
But I still got hella beef.
Okay. And number 1 would be Paul Heyman. As much as the Lesnar stuff, I do concede that he's got a great mind for the business. All the things he did with ECW, the way he worked his way into the business in the first place as a teenager, that's well documented, and the number of people that he's worked with and put over with that wrestling mind of his. That's why he's my number 1.
Okay, I have zero beef with your number 1. Reason I have a massive beef with J.J. Dillon is you're putting J.J. Dillon over. Okay, first you're putting J.J. Dillon over Pat Patterson. Patterson, I have beef with because you got him at 9. Patterson Patterson and Triple H need to be higher up that list. A lot higher up that list. And both of them better be higher up than J.J. Dillon. So J.J. Dillon immediately, in my book, just tearing apart your list, J.J. Dillon is now 5.
Okay.
Because it should read number 1, Paul Heyman. Number 2, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, baby. Because if you will, because there is no way in the blackest soul of hell that anyone should be on that list above Dusty Rhodes except maybe Paul Heyman. And you could easily do 1 and 1A, Dusty Rhodes, Paul Heyman. No question about that. I might even put Jericho over J.J. Dillon. J.J. Dillon was a great manager, but if I'm making the list, J.J.'s not on mine. Not even close. El Santo's not on mine either because there are much greater Mexican luchadors in history than El Santo, namely Mil Mascaras. So if we're talking, Mexican superstar living his gimmick, always being under the mask, it's Mil Mascaras. Because Mil Mascaras is the OG, kind of like Regal being the OG of the proper villain.
Yeah.
I cannot argue against William Regal being on the list. Couple people, and obviously I don't know how many people I've got. We're talking this. Jericho stays on my list. Another WWE guy that gets on my list, Edge.
Okay.
Edge had a phenomenal mind for the business, understood how to play the heel, understood how to work the crowd, and was just absolutely amazing with that.
Understood how to accentuate his opponent's strengths too, whether it
Exactly.
was in a tag team concept or a singles concept.
Inoki, I don't necessarily have a problem with, but if we're going to talk New Japan, instead of going with the creator of New Japan, I might be more inclined to go with Gedo, who is the current booker in New Japan, who helped create a lot of the things like the G1 Climax, and also this little thing they've had going in New Japan for the last several years called Bullet Club. He oversaw all that, whereas Inoki oversaw the initial stages and also, but even though he had his hands on Liger and Muda and all those guys, I still think with the global expansion of New Japan happening, I think you got to give Gedo more credit than you do Antonio Inoki.
Admittedly, this top 10 list is kind of like a greatest hits exercise for me. I mean, when I was looking at it, I'm like, okay, I want to make sure I hit kind of all the, the wide range of people that are involved
Right.
in wrestling in general. I mean, I didn't really drill down and get specific like that. But I have no beef with any of the changes you're making.
Cool. But yeah, this is going to be a really good conversation over the next couple of weeks. I'm really looking forward to hearing it. Again, let's plug the ways you can get a hold of us on the show. You can check us. You can email us at wrestlingwithegos@gmail.com. Right down there. You can check this boy out right here on Twitter at bcrego15.
Yeah, man.
You can tweet me at rant mode on.
And don't forget too, our Google Sites is bit.ly/with egos. That's where you can find the top 10 list. You can find previous episodes. You can find out all the ways to get in touch with us. And you can find out the homework assignments if you want to check those matches out yourself. And please, on YouTube, like us, share with your friends, and subscribe so you can get those notifications about when we have new content coming up, like this new content.
Right. Don't forget to click the bell as well, because that's really how you find out that we have new content up. And I'll go ahead and tell you right now, when we get into May and we start doing our top 10 list,
It's going to be May.
No, God, I'm going to slap the out of you. I said I didn't finish the swear word. I only swore once. It's going to be best heels.
Okay.
We're going to discuss, and it's going to be one of those things. It may end up having to be a special edition of Wrestling with Egos where we do nothing but just talk that list. That's actually not a bad idea. Every month, kind of do a special
Book
edition.
it, Patrick.
Book it. But I just breaking down what makes a great heel, because as the short definition is yes or no, do you want to pay money to see this guy get his ass whipped? Sorry, this episode of Wrestling with Egos is also brought to you by Sprite. For everybody here, everybody watching this on YouTube, this cup was full when we started. It's empty.
My cup was full too.
Jake the Snake. Yeah, this one was from the queue last year when the fiance and I went to a Raw. You got a hockey guy.
You mean the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse?
Yeah, Rocket Mortgage Fields. You got LeBron, who's now in LA. You got J.R. Smith, y'all. We got J.R. Smith on the cup, and
Kyle Korver.
No Kevin Love though. I don't get it.
I don't know.
What? Hey, out of all three basketball players on that cup, none of them are in Cleveland anymore. Wow.
Nothing lasts.
Nothing lasts forever in Cleveland, especially with Cavs head coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what else doesn't last forever? Actually, you know what does last forever? Hatred because a referee misses a double dribble call during the national semifinal.
Still salty. Okay.
Oh, I'm as salty as a damn margarita, son.
Okay. Just clearing that up.
I'm as salty as the rim on a margarita. God.
That sounds like a good place to end it before we get off the rails.
Job. Forget it. It's not a great day for hockey. It's still Auburn football and basketball and everything else. Damn it.
Or Eagles.
It's still real to me. Damn it. All right, we're gonna wrap the show up now.
I don't know. I don't know how to respond. So until next time, folks.
You know what, Brian? Here's how you respond. Do the Brian face. And as my boy is doing that, I'll go ahead and sign off. Thank you guys so much for making Wrestling with Egos a part of your week and a part of your wrestling enjoyment. Until next week, I'm Patrick at Rant Mode On. That's Brian at BCrigo15. Both of those on Twitter. Check us out on check us out on Anchor on Wrestling with Egos. Check us out here on YouTube. Email us at wrestlingwithegos@gmail.com. We will see you guys next week. And until then, as always, that's our story, and we're sticking to it.